Skincare is important for each and every human being, be it people who are binary, be it people who are non-binary, be it people who have different sexual orientations. Skin is skin, and this is what I try to talk about today in this episode with Khadija. And not just this, but also about her venture, her life, her learnings, and her journey till here. And this conversation seemed to have happened in such a good way because we used to be acquaintances in school, and after so many years we had the chance to have a conversation like this. So truth be told, I enjoyed a lot, and you would too if you listen till the end. So without further ado, enjoy episode number 29 with Khadija Islam, the founder of Beauty Anomaly. Thank you so much, Khadija, for doing this episode with me. I can't believe actually this that we have been in the same school, and we have been studying together for a couple of years, and now we are actually doing this episode where both of us are doing something altogether different. And I'm really happy that I have this opportunity to talk to you about what you're doing right now, and how you started and your whole journey. So thank you so much for doing this episode.
I mean, if you would have asked me a couple of years ago, where would we see each other? And like in high school, if you'd have asked me, I would have never said here for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Not
absolutely.
here. So I'm Khadija, and I have a beauty page called Beauty Anomaly, which is a very unique name in itself. I believe we will get into the specifics of that in a while. But I create content around skincare, hair care, beauty, and I have been doing it for almost 2 years, consistently. Started 4 years ago, but was never consistent on it. But yes, that is pretty much about me, what I do, and that's how I earn my living too.
Oh, actually, a lot of people cannot believe that having a beauty page is something that will make you earn money, and it takes a while, it takes a long time. But yeah, I think you also started it slow, and right now you are actually on it altogether. So pretty much, as you said, nobody actually had this idea that we'll be here today doing something like this and talking to each other. So how did it all start for you? Because I think everybody, even in schools also, we don't think of getting into some creative field, and being from a place that we are from, and we were in school together, and we were never told for us to be in a creative fields, but we were always into studies or going for colleges, and later on see what life brings out. And right now life brought this to us, and so I would really like to know how it all started for you. How did this idea come about, and you know what was the main push that you got just to start this?
So I honestly, I was always into personal care, like even as a teenager. So I would always, try out different products, different creams all the hecking time. Back even in hostel, I would have like bunch of products with me just so I could try out. Always been inclined towards it. Always made it's something that made me happy forever. Like every time, it would just make me really happy. And then when YouTube, I would see a lot of creators that were not from here. Mostly, you wouldn't see a lot of Indian creators in this zone, but a lot of Western creators. So I was like, all right, that's interesting. And then slowly, a lot of Indian creators started coming up, and I was like, ooh, that is interesting too. But then back then, I did not have the resources or the time to do any of this. As a child, I wanted to be a doctor when I grew up. And then back in high school, I was sure I would not be a doctor, but I just did not know what I would be. So it was always like, okay, I will be something, but I don't know what yet. And then I did study psychology actually. So I'm a graduate in psychology, but that's not how. I'm not into that at all at the moment. And yes, when I started, there weren't a lot of skin influencers or skincare influencers, especially in India. Very like limited amount. Like could literally count them in my fingers. I was like, okay, everyone's doing around makeup, everyone's doing around color cosmetics. So, and I was very much inclined towards skincare. So I was like, okay, I would like to do something regarding skincare, and that's how it started. Sheer love for personal care, love the way it makes me feel, love the way I just love everything about it. And I just started. I was like, all right. I wasn't sure what the outcome it would give me, honestly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here if I knew how I was to start. but that's just how it started.
I think
You
nobody
know that
does actually when it comes to starting something. It just happens, and it's like just take that
it's
leap of
happening.
faith and let's see what happens. You learn on the process, you learn on the journey, you'll make mistakes. It's all about starting, I think, and then deciding how to go along and where to go along. So yeah,
Definitely.
it's something that I would really say that if you have if you had this feeling of and this practice of actually taking care of yourself. Skincare is something that I think you brought out very beautifully. But when we say about cruelty free, what does that actually mean? Because a lot of people will say a lot of stuff for you, or what. Let's go with for you. What would cruelty free mean, or even as a whole, what do people think about it? What will be the difference there?
So when I started off, I was trying literally every brand that is out there. I mean, like a lot of brands that I absolutely loved at one point, and I'm so sad right now that I cannot use them because of this lifestyle change that I've had. So while in this industry, like while working, while doing a lot of skincare and like creating content around it, I learned that a lot of cosmetics that we use, like beauty, everything related to makeup, hair care, skincare, a lot of these are actually tested on animals first before they are released in the market. And we're talking about really horrific testing. Like, animals, of course, they don't have a voice, so they cannot give you consent whether you want to test on them or not. So these are like, like let's take mascara for an example. So these are tested on the eyelashes of like, bunnies and stuff like that, or like, dropped into their eyes to check whether it will create or cause an allergic reaction on humans. It's bad. Oftentimes they die. It's like, it's literally murder at one point, torture and then murder. Wouldn't wish it on my enemy. I saw a couple of videos that were very, very disturbing. And then I decided that, wow, how do I, as a human being, allow vanity to come at the cost of such cruelty? And that's when I decided that, at the end of the day, it's money that everybody listens to. So when you stop putting your money onto these companies, they will start listening to you. They will start listening that, okay, you know what, people are, they know what's up. They don't want to invest in products like these. So a lot of big brands like L'Oreal, Maybelline, a lot of these brands that are readily available in the market are tested on animals. One brand is called Garnier, which was cruelty free, and they recently, sorry, which was not cruelty free, and they recently turned cruelty free. So a big organization, a big company like Garnier, from going from testing on animals to now not testing on animals, should speak a lot about how much your money, like how much your voice counts, how much your money matters.
Absolutely.
That is that is the whole. I mean, my shift to cruelty free beauty was overnight. I just one day decided that heck no, I'm not going to use products that are tested on animals anymore, and that's it. So I definitely did not throw away the products that I already had because that would lead to a lot of wastage and not sustainable in any way. So I used up the products that I have, but I made sure that I'm not buying any more products that test on animals.
Now, I mean, I just got to. I knew that there are brands who not cruelty free brands, but brands which use animals in some way or the other, but I didn't know how they did it. I used to think that it is like, as it's gone on WhatsApp and many other places, it's made from animals. So that is something that I used to think because that's how it happens. But I didn't know which brands were there, and I think I was very ignorant. I'm calling myself out here, but yeah, I was ignorant and I didn't know about it. And right now, I think this is something that you talk. I think this is something that people need to be educated about first of all. Plus, and you telling it right now, people listening to it, I think there's going to be a lot of people who will understand. You know, they can't give consent. They cannot understand anything that is going on with them. And if I have a dog and I know how it feels when something happens to him, so there only I can understand that how difficult it's going to be for any animal when it comes to something being used on them which they are not actually okay with, or they can die with it. So thank you so much for that.
Exactly.
And see, starting something like this is very difficult when it comes to you always think, would this work? what does not work, and how to start, where to start from, and then you take a step and you just start off. So I know starting can be difficult on the phase when you talk to yourself, but what kind of prejudices did you face when your family, your peers, your friends, people around you started seeing you and doing something like this, and they thought, you know क्यों- in Hindi, like we say, कि क्यों कर रहा है, क्या हो जाएगा इससे, and everything. So how did you face that, and what kind of prejudices did you face?
So I think in that spectrum, I would call myself quite lucky, or I would call my parents quite mature because they did not really mind what I was doing. Not at all. I remember a couple of times I asked Dad, "Dad, give me money. I need to buy that eyeshadow palette." And he's like, "How much do you need?" So he was always like, okay, I get it. It's something you enjoy doing. Go on, do whatever you want to do, basically. So that's how, like, on the parental front, on the family front, like, it was always that, okay, appreciative of what they do. I mean, they still go watch my lives. They would still go like my posts. And, like, I would literally make my dad go, like, you go like my posts. And he would literally not understand what I'm doing, but he would just be there to support me.
That support
So
has been
that,
there from the family side, which is actually
absolutely. From
yeah.
from the very beginning. Although I think initially they did not really understand what I could make out of it. But even when I started, I did not start with the whole intention of this turning into something that could actually help me earn money. So I started mostly because I enjoy doing it. I like doing it. So that's the only reason I started. Initially, when I started, there was a lot of investment that I had to make because I had to buy products. I had to, like, test out different things. And then slowly the brands reached out, brands started coming in, which was interesting. And then I was like, okay, all right, didn't know that was going to happen, but it did. So that from the friends front, I don't know. I think I would say supportive, like, because I haven't reached out to a lot of people saying what I do. I just kept it very, like, low key in the sense, just for myself, because I think prejudice would only be what I was thinking. I have no idea what my friends were thinking. I had no idea if they thought, the heck she is doing? What is this nonsense? Does she think she's going to be the new YouTuber or something? Never really think that they might think like that, or maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I had this idea that, okay, I don't know how they're going to perceive it. So that was the only thing. But I'm glad that did not let me stop on my tracks. I'm glad that did not stop me from starting what I wanted to do, because I've always been the kind of person ki, हाँ चलेगा जो होगा देखा जाए. So
Yeah.
I was like, I like it, I want to do it, I'm gonna do it, to hell whatever comes.
Okay. It's quite
So
mature of
yes.
you, to be very honest, that you actually said that the prejudices actually work when, or you have your own prejudices. It's not what other people say. If you can fight those prejudices inside yourself, I think, yeah. And right now, I can also relate somewhere because, yeah, there were a lot of pointers that I had to think about, and yeah, it's actually true. It's very true. And yeah, being supportive, I think, from the side of peers and people you always are surrounded with is actually very important when it comes to something that you're doing like this, even if it's less investment, more investment, but you are giving time, you are loving what you're doing, and a bit of appreciation, or a bit of just a supportive, anything supportive in any way, sharing the post, liking the post, or commenting anything, or even talking about what you're doing, is something that can actually make a person's day when they are in the starting phase, or even right now. I think even for me today, after 1.5 year, I think if someone just tells me out of the blue that you are doing great, or this episode was this, or this reel was this, I was like, okay, so this person knows what I'm doing, and this person is just appreciating. So I think you feel the same way. And to be very honest, we have not been that close in school as well, but we were there and we used to talk sometimes, and we had a few people around who were our common friends.
So
But
yeah.
seeing what you do, to be very honest, I saw from one of our friends post that they shared, and I was like, okay, this is Khadija, what is she doing? And I was like, wow, she is. It was because I didn't know what can happen to a person at a moment where I was actually discovering myself as well. I started seeing your posts and everything around, I think, this year's January, and I started around last year August, September. So I was occupying, like I was trying to learn myself, and I was occupying myself in different pages and looking after things and everything. So I saw that, and your page was incredible. You were doing such an amazing job, and I never thought that you could do this. So my question, if this is a bit uncomfortable, don't answer. It's your own choice. But we had this whole prospect of, and I am actually calling myself again out here. But yeah, this was bad from our side, and I was immature that time. But we used to call you quite a tomboy and everything, and you used to be so that way. And I'm not still not stereotyping it. You can still be that, and you can still take care of your skin. It's not that. But you know, what did you feel about that? Because right now we are talking about change in life, change in the journey, change in so many things where you thought that you could be a doctor, then you took psychology, but you're not actually doing something on that prospect, but you're doing something totally different. So how was that, how did that feel that time? And right now when you think about it, what do you feel?
About personal care. I feel like this is something that's so ingrained in us that men don't have to take care of themselves. But in reality, yes, they do. I mean, you still have a skin, right? You do need to take care of your skin. You still have hair. You do need to wash your hair, don't you?
Yes.
So I don't understand why this stereotype is there towards, like, when it comes to skincare, that it's supposed to be feminine in some way. It's not. It doesn't have to be feminine at all, and it is not feminine at all. So that, and the tomboy that I was back in high school, I would still say I am like that. Often, like I still am. I still have that trait. I'm still very, like, I do lean towards more of like masculine nature, masculine clothing, perfumes. I do, but I guess that's what, right? Again, skincare, personal care in general shouldn't be defined to a
Right.
particular
Yes,
gender.
yes, yes,
Defined to be
absolutely.
even back then as a tomboy, I loved skincare because it's
Yeah,
something
you
that brought
just said
me
that.
joy. I love testing things out. And even now, when I'm somewhere where I feel okay, I finally found my space into where I belong with respect to the femininity or
Mhm,
masculinity set by
mhm.
society. If I finally figured out where I belong, I still see skincare there. It's been
Yeah.
my constant ever since. So yeah, I mean, again, never thought that this would turn it out to be something that works in my favor. Honestly, like still today, I'm sometimes shocked. Still today, my dad is sometimes shocked that it did turn out in my favor. But I mean, it did. I'm really thankful it did. And what you said earlier about that one like, that one comment, I believe even if you reach like a million followers, that one like, that one comment always matters.
Yes.
And especially when it comes from your loved ones, especially when it comes from people that you know, people that you have known, to know that, okay, this person knew me back then, and I still see their support. Like, you're always standing out there. So it's a very nice thing. It's genuinely a very nice thing.
I mean, I think a lot of people have to understand here that uh, genderizing everything is not something that will take us so far, or at least near somewhere because there are so many things that we do as a human rather than a male, a female, or even non-binary people. I think we cannot genderize everything. And right, I think I used to think, and I'm still like, even then when I was not that matured, or I was so ignorant, I always had this feeling and thinking that in the future there is going to be a time where clothes are going to be just unisex. It's not going to be genderized at all. You will have to get into a store, and whatever you want to wear, you take it and go. You don't have to go for the men's section or the women's section or anywhere else. So this is something that I always used to think. And I think even for skincare, particularly particularly skincare, not even hair products, I'm not talking about them. If we start from there as well, we need to understand that skin is something that is human. It's not genderized again. You can't go for like
Absolutely.
Kali, women have to look beautiful. Men can look beautiful as well. It's just about how you use the word and how degrading you can make it sound. I think
Exactly.
personally it's just a feeling that you have when you do something like this, and you just think of nothing, and you just are focused on what you want to do. So my question to you right now is this the thing that you actually wanted to do in life? As you said, it just came along, I know, but was there something else that you wanted to do?
Um, I had no clear goal of what I wanted to do, to be very honest. Like, as a child, I did, yes, I wanted to be a doctor, a gynecologist to be specific. But then it just changed over time. I mean, I saw that I'm not interested in that subject. I was interested in the idea of being a doctor, seeing doctors, and I still respect them, and the respect was there evidently as a child too. That I looked up so much that I wanted to be one of them. But then growing up, I realized I am not interested in this subject at all. Physics makes no sense to me. Chemistry is all over. I think, ma'am, I don't even know how I passed my chemistry papers in school. So I knew this was not meant for me. I mean, I even took up science in 11th grade, right? Because I was like, okay, I'm going to push and make it somehow. I'm going to strive through it. But then 11th grade, I realized that no, it's just gonna mess me up more. So I decided that okay, I am gonna call it quits before I even begin, before I put in too much money into it, because I know I don't want to invest so much and then have no returns at all, right? So I was like, all right, no, this is not something I want to do. And then psychology is a subject that always interested me, always. Like even today, it does. I could still read up about psychology. I could still read up a lot on it. So it does. So I took up psychology, I took up sociology, two subjects that I really, really like. I am really interested in. So I did that. And while doing that, I was also doing this side by side, right? And I think on my last year of graduation, like my third year, that's when I started being consistent with my page. And that's when I saw the returns on my page, the way the engagement was growing, the way I was growing as a blogger. And then I realized, okay, this is something I would like to do. This is something that interests me. Yes, my subject also interests me, but this is also something that really interests me. And I'm already getting something out of it, you know? So I decided instead of putting in a lot more years, maybe I could just try and do this. So I actually took a break here after my graduation. Instead of enrolling for my master's, I took a break just to understand, okay, where am I headed? Do I want to take the educational route or do I want to take this route? Took a year and the page did exponentially well for me. I got featured, even
Yeah.
in Hindu. So yes, so I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do. I'm loving what I do. I'm loving what it gives me in return. So yeah.
This is incredible because nobody thinks of, you know, having this kind of response when they start. They just dream about it, ki, yeah, we can grow, but having it in a real time basis, it's amazing. So, congratulations for that. And going for what you love and understanding, taking time. First of all, I think having that time is something that we are privileged of, not a lot of people are privileged of. And even though you took that time and you understood that yes, this is something you really want to do and you just want to focus, you don't know about the future. Obviously it can change, your mood can change, you want to start something else. And I think there is no, I think there's no limit on years when you want to study. You can study anytime, you can do anything, and in academics you can do anything anytime that you want. But trying something new is something that we don't actually do because we want to play safe. We don't like to take risks that much. But if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Obviously it doesn't work out, but the thing is that we have that privilege and a lot of people. But yeah, but I'll still, if anyone asks me should I go for it, I'll always say that just go for it. Because I think even if you don't go do great, you are going to learn so much about yourself. Going to learn so much about that particular thing as well, that yeah, okay, I have a lot of knowledge, but I think in life knowledge means nothing to people. It's all about money. So that is
Oh yeah.
altogether different.
In today's world, it's all about that money.
Yeah. At the end, people just see like touch wood, and I'm really happy that this happens with you and is happening with you. But at the end, if after 2 3 years, at least in my case, I cannot talk about you, but in my case, if I'm talking right now, I'm not seeing this as something that I can earn from right now. I'm just still figuring out what I want to do in life. But if this doesn't give me money, I'll have questions from my parents. I know that. And being from a Marwari family, this is a very big thing. So yeah, that is something that I can bring out here. I think from your side, your parents are cool and chill about it, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
But the one thing I would like to tell you is like, be consistent. That's the one thing I've really learned about in this field. Because see, the thing is, there's nothing in life, even with ideas, right? Your idea that you come up with, chances are 10 other people have already thought of that idea already. So it is when you execute it, whether you execute it first before that 10 people, then that idea is yours. That's your patent,
Yes.
right? But
Absolutely.
it's not, doesn't have to be unique. I mean, there's no way it can be unique. We're like so many people in this world. So the same with this industry. There are a lot of people coming. Like I said, when I started, there were a handful of influencers on this space, and now I cannot even count.
Yeah, there are a
There's
lot, all
10
lot.
coming every day,
Yes,
right? 10
absolutely.
coming every day, and sometimes I wouldn't lie. Sometimes it is a little, what do you call it? It's a little intimidating that because I won't say like I've grown exponentially on
Yeah, yeah.
Instagram, right? I'm still growing, but I love my pace. I love what I do, and I love the community that I've built. So that is what is keeping me at ease and what is keeping me at peace. So that's what you need to be consistent, because only when I started being consistent with my page, that's when I saw my page giving something back to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like हाँ जब मन करे तब छोड़ दिया, तो people are also like हाँ ठीक है जब मन करे आ जाएंगे like करने. So it's only when
Obviously.
I started putting effort, I saw people putting that effort to like okay, engage, be like okay, there is this person, this Khadija, she does Beauty Anomaly, she is like a skill influencer. So yeah, just be consistent. I'm sure this will give you some returns too. I
I'm
hope it
trying my
does.
level best to be consistent, having so many things right now at one go. But yeah, I'm not trying to leave this because this is something that makes me happy as well. I didn't even realize that I loved talking on a camera and making reels and everything because I was so shy in school. And right now I'm talking to people, various people I really love following, people I have seen grow myself, and bringing them on my podcast and talking to them is something that I never imagined that I would do. But absolutely, I agree with you, and consistency is something that we need to go for. uh, One thing that I would really like to ask, when I have touched this topic of privilege right now, so I would really like to know this: what are your thoughts about people dropping out of school? I mean, when it school or even colleges to start something of their own, what do you want to how would you comment on that?
So, I mean, I am of the thought that please have a backup. Like I did, I have a backup, right? Today, if I want to do something, if this doesn't work out, I want to study, I want to do my master's. I have that liberty to do that. I have that privilege to do that because I do have a plan B, basically. So I would say please have a plan B for sure. This is something that could give you a great return. I mean, this is like any other business that you start. You start off, you're not going to initially see a lot of returns on it. It does take, and maybe it takes longer than most businesses because this is completely like, it's a different field altogether. So if you have that time, energy, mental space to put yourself in and know that for the first 2 3 years, there's literally going to be no outcome out of it. It might be a lot of you putting in, but not a lot of outcome into it. If you're ready for that, if that thought makes sense to you, then by all means do whatever you want to do. But if you do not have that, right? If you don't have that liberty, if you don't have that 2 years or 1 year or 6 months even, then have a backup. Do this side by side. Start building slowly while also doing something that will keep you secure, and start doing this side by side. And then maybe you'll come at a point like I did, where I realized that, okay, no, I want to do this full time.
Actually, a very accurate and point to point answer. And I think, yes, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, see, we can be passionate about something, and having the privilege of doing this, having a gap year or dropping out is something I will call a privilege, because we need a support even after that. But people who cannot do this, I think, if they really want to go for it, yes, backup will always help you. Even in our case, it would help, like it is helping us somewhere. We have a backup of going for, like, for you going for masters, or for me going for a job or something like that. We can go for it, and we can do that. But people who don't have it, I think, yes, start slow, start small. If you think somewhere you can leave everything and just put all your into it, you can build up, and you can actually do it acha se.
One
So
thing
yeah.
to add to that, passion is great, right? Your passion can lead you anywhere in the world and all of that. But you need to understand that passion alone does not sustain it. You
Yeah,
need to have that space, you need to have that mental capability to take it in. You have to have the physical ability to take this on, right? And mental in the sense that a lot of things you are going to hear while you are doing it. I was lucky to not hear it, but you might not be. So you need to brace yourself for all of that. You need to understand, are you going to be consistent in this for a
yeah,
long term? Do you see yourself being consistent? Because this is worse than 9 to 5. I'm not even kidding.
yeah. This is not 9 to 5,
Nine
this
to
is
five is
24
like,
hours.
exactly. And I'm my own cameraman. I'm my own what do you call it? Editor. I'm
Creative.
my own producer.
Yeah,
I am my own studio guy.
creative
I am
director,
everything.
everything, everything. Yeah,
I am my model too. So I am literally all of it in one package. So it takes a toll. Sometimes like late at night I'm sitting and I'm just editing because my post needs to go up the next day. So that stuff. So you really need to understand just passion alone will not cut it. Do a little bit of groundwork. See if this is fit for you,
mm,
because this is turning out to be an industry. This is turning out to be
yes,
a job,
yes,
right? So need to really understand, do a groundwork, just like you would do if you're going for any job, right? You would
yep,
do your groundwork.
yep.
So groundwork. Passion alone will not take you anywhere. Neither does it pay the bill.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And I think, people, when they see someone getting success, they just see the success. They don't see what brought that
That's right.
success. How
Mhm.
much difficulty was there. What we like, leave me. You're talking with experience right now, and you actually said that you were privileged enough for having that headspace. A lot of people don't have that headspace and they give up, or sometimes they want to give up, but they keep on going on, and they see that result, and then they're like, yes, I have reach to a place where I wanted to be. But nobody sees the hard work that they have done. That's those sad days, those days that they don't want to do anything and just be on bed. I think it's something that people don't look for. And I'm really happy that chose that word, mental space, because that is something which is very important when it comes to something, doing something that you're passionate about, because there are a lot of problems when it comes to passion. I think it's, and obviously it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't start with paying the bills. It can later on, but it will take a while. So yeah, and
It
when we
would.
are touching this point, mental space, I would really like to know, like, when I say these two things, that is pandemic and mental health, what does come in your head, like in respect to your life or your work, anything? I mean, what comes in your head?
Anxiety is the only thing that comes in my head right now, because I think the entire pandemic I was quite anxious about a lot of things in general. But again, touching base on privilege that we talked about, I think we need to address our privileges as and when they come, right?
Yep, yep.
So I mean, I was quite privileged to spend this entire year or two in a very relaxed state, in a state that was not like that mentally anguishing for me. I mean, I'm someone who doesn't like going out much. I don't really miss the outdoors. I am okay not going to the mall. I'm okay not eating out. So I'm very at home kind of person. Me, my cats, my work, I'm pretty sorted. So I think for a lot of people that I do have a couple of colleagues who are very outdoorsy, who love going out, and
Mm-hmm.
for them it was pretty bad time because and I think more than that, addressing that people can be different than you. Some people it might have come across as something that is terribly frustrating for them. You need to address it. I mean they're not going out, right? They are releasing their anger. I think this is one thing that I saw in social media where someone's talking about how much they miss going out, and it would come with a lot of backlash,
Yeah.
look at all the things happening and all of that. I mean, they're not going out. They're just saying they would like to go out
Yes,
somewhere, but
yes.
they're not. I think holding people accountable where they need to be accountable is the right thing to do, but not like everywhere that you can go. So whenever you're using social media, because pandemic is something that gave rise to social media.
Yep,
So
yep.
whenever you're using social media, please be careful about. I mean, you wouldn't be so aggressive in person, right? I mean, if you're very aggressive in person, then by all means do whatever you want. But if you're not aggressive in person, if you are a pretty logical, rational person, then be the same on social media.
Mm.
Just because you're behind a screen, just because somebody cannot see you, somebody does not know you, It doesn't give you the right to be so ruthless, right? So I think that is that. I think pandemic is anxiety in general for me, because I did come across like a lot of people, more like a lot of scenarios, because I am very empathetic in nature, right? So if someone goes through something, I feel it. I feel it for them, and I feel it being in their shoes. So that was something that I just couldn't understand. I couldn't make, like, head or tail out of it. That, okay, why are people being like this? There's a way to do things. Go ahead. Please raise your voice. Where you need to, but don't just outright go and shit on people any chance you
Yeah,
get.
yeah. I mean,
That,
it has become a culture right now to just call out anyone and everyone any time of the day, even though there's no calling out required. Uh,
of
uh,
course.
and I'm really happy that you know touched this point where it's all about how you see a person. And you said that you are empathetic and you felt a way like how this person can be this way, or what is this person feeling, the person that people are calling out, how would they feel. You are trying to take everything in that regard, and you are being that person, and obviously that will make you feel anxious a lot. Because somewhere when I was learning about empathy, I did the same, and I stopped for a while just to just to wrap up everything. How would these people actually would be feeling? I mean, it was not just outside that we saw a lot of stuff, people dying. I think people were actually breaking down in their homes just because of what was going on social media as well. There were so many problems all around us, but nobody was actually trying to make it a better place. It was all about calling out people, and I'm really happy that you touched this point, because it's just not the outside. Because me as well. I have talked to so many people about this question. I've asked this question so many times. Nobody talked about the inside thing that we saw, the internet that we saw. We all have, even I used to think about the same thing. Like, it's all about the outside, what we saw, what we see. And right now, you gave me a different perspective altogether. So thank you so much for that. And trust me, I'm really happy that you could share this, because it's not that easy to be a bit of vulnerable, as well, when it comes to talking to someone on a video call, or even recording something like this. So thank you so much for doing that. Sorry.
I feel
Yeah.
like
And
sorry, I keep cutting because I'm quite happy with the conversation we're
yeah,
having.
yeah, yeah.
So when we're talking about like mental health, right? You know how earlier it resolved that physical ailments were only considered ailments.
Yes.
Mental health wasn't. With the rise of social media, now we are addressing mental health. But during the pandemic, it was interesting to see the fact that although you were very, like, a person could be very pro mental health, but at the same time, you were completely devaluing someone who
Yeah.
was saying that they are sad, or they're, like, they feel trapped, or they feel claustrophobic being at home, and you would constantly compare them to people who are on the front lines.
Yes.
I'm not saying by any means people on the front line are not doing. They are doing a lot. They, whatever they went through, whatever they are going through, it's insane, and I have massive respect for them, for volunteers who, like, out of their own
Thank
goodwill,
you.
they go, they want to help people out. Great, like, absolute respect for that. But don't devalue someone if they're at home and they're, like, trying to maybe make sense of what's happening, make sense of what's going on inside their head. Because when you say you're pro mental health, you have to be pro mental health,
For
right? You
everyone.
cannot just be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same thing, right? Physical ailment is bigger than mental ailment. So you might say you are pro mental health, but you're literally just circling back to that same thing.
Like, you can't choose people when it comes to being pro mental health. I mean, if you're being pro mental health, be for all, or don't be one. That's what I think
Oh,
specifically, because obviously if you are, and it's somewhere wrong for us to think that way as well, because we are seeing the good, not the, we're seeing the bad, not the good. But even though we are seeing this way, this is something that can be called wrong as well, because obviously, we seeing someone as like, just give an example about someone just want to be outside, and they cannot because they like going outside, and we calling them and telling them that, think about other people, man, they are dying, they are doing this, they are doing that, and you want to go out and make them suffer more. It's not about that. It's actually not about
it's
that.
not
It's
about
just
that.
about perspective, that that person just wants to go out. You can call that person and
It's
just talk about how it used to be go out, where used to be when we used to go
exact,
out, and that could make that person
exactly.
feel good, feel better, and then you can say, but it's okay that we're not right now. At least because of us being at home, things are getting in control. That's the way you
Yeah,
can
I think
actually convey someone,
yeah,
but not just
the best way
you know just going for the throat directly. It's not how you have to do
to
that.
I mean, the best way to take that conversation forward could have been that, like, telling that person that, yes, I completely get where you're coming from, like, so that the person feels that, okay, I'm not the only
Yeah,
one thinking like this.
yeah,
There are people
yeah,
who think like that. At the
yeah,
same time, somewhere, like, reminding them that, we need to be at home right now. We cannot help it, because, I mean, there's a bigger threat out there, right?
yeah,
So I think the conversation could lead to that way. I'm like, in no means I'm saying that people should have gone out during the COVID time and all that, because hell no, please don't go out during COVID time. But yeah, I'm just saying about addressing that it can happen. People can feel this way, and there's a way to talk it out. There's a way to, like,
yeah, absolutely.
make them feel validated instead of attacking them.
Yes,
But if you are seeing someone outright growing and vacationing during pandemic, by
yeah,
all
call them
means,
out.
please call them.
Yes,
Please.
absolutely, absolutely.
Platform is yours.
Yeah,
Call
it,
them out
it
as
was
much
done
as
to
you want.
me. It was done to me. I did to myself as well, because when second wave started, I went for a trip and I had to go for that trip because I needed that space. But yeah, that was wrong by my side. But yeah, if someone is doing something wrong, call them out. But if they are not, like, try to understand their perspective first and then decide whether they are doing wrong or not. I mean,
Exactly.
it's all about
Exactly.
how you think, and people don't think when they say anything or they post anything or they say anything to anyone. It's just that backlash karna hai to karna hi hai, and you have to say that thing that you have to. It's all about how first you think and then say. That a lot of things will change then and there. I mean, there are so many problems already in our lives, already in the society that we are talking about, and ऊपर से एक और problem किसी और को देके, there's no, कुछ होगा ही नहीं. There's nothing that we are gaining from that. So thank you. I mean, I'm loving this conversation right now because it's just not what we are talking about here and there, and it's not about your career or your profession right now, but we're actually talking about one point or the other that we need to talk about. So I'm loving this conversation, bringing me to, like, it's actually bringing me to this point. uh failing is something that sorry, failing is something that we are glorifying right now. I'm using glorifying because it's going to a different level altogether. Sometimes it's not just about winning or failing or something, it's about the experience. That's what I feel. So I really want to know, if you had this superpower. I don't know what your answer will be, but I really want to know this. So, if you had a superpower where you couldn't fail ever, anything
Um,
that you tried in life, anything that you tried in life, you would never fail. What would you do? I mean, go for it. Like, think about every situation that you can, from A to Z. I have no problem, but really, what would you do?
if I could never fail, right, I would definitely start a skincare brand for sure
Okay.
that gives you the best results, effective results immediately if I can. But because I'm not never gonna fail, right? Of course, I can provide
Yeah,
you with that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
result.
absolutely.
So that if I could never fail, I would devise an instrument that helped me understand animals, talk to them,
Nice
sort of.
point.
Um,
Great.
if I could never fail, I would do something that makes me a shit ton of money, and I would buy all the possible beauty brands out there and
If
never
you would
test on
never fail, I
animals.
think you could just remove money. I think that's
Capitalists didn't allow that. You don't need money because I wouldn't fail.
okay. Your choice. It's your choice. I think, yeah. Anything
Yeah.
else?
If I would never fail, if I would never fail, whew, I yeah, I think that's it. I think the next thing that would come to my mind is power. Like, power, like top, everybody hears from me kind of power. But if with the power, I would definitely install somebody around me that keeps me in check because
Yeah,
power can get to your
obviously.
head.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. quite interesting for the answers, because obviously I'm very happy. This was a fun answer, because a lot of people get a lot modest, and I'm not saying that they're wrong somewhere. Obviously, that's their perspective. That was their answer. But I'm really happy that we had a fun answer here. Not going anywhere else, I'll come back to one question that that I think will help a lot of people understand a lot of things. You have given advices, you have talked about your whole journey, you have talked about cruelty, you have talked about what you would do if you had a superpower, you have talked about pandemic, mental health, you have touched a lot of stuff. So at the end, I would really like to end this episode in just this simple question, simple but yet tough, I think. What kind of changes do you see in yourself when you compare the Khadija when you started and the Khadija that you are today?
A lot. I mean, I was very shy, very introverted, very socially anxious. I'm talking like actually socially anxious, right? Like I couldn't, for the life of me, be in a room with more than five people in it. I just can't. The idea of going to a mall scares me. The idea of going to a place with a lot of people scares the shit out of me. Scared the shit out of me. Actually, I would. Let's talk about. I grew out of that. I grew out of that a lot. I mean, I think I'm still somewhere. There are still times when I am still anxious about like this time when I went out and I was supposed to make friends. I literally had a mental breakdown, crying. So I wouldn't say I'm completely over it. I'm meeting a friend, imagine, and I'm crying because I don't know why. So um, uh, I think I grew out of that phase a lot as a person because at the end of the day, despite of crying, I did go and meet the friend and I had a blast of a time. So that earlier, 4 years ago, I wouldn't have done that. I would have cried and I would have been like, nope, canceling all plans, won't go out. So that changed for sure. I'm way more comfortable with who I am.
That is
I
something
mean,
so
if this
important.
conversation does not tell you that, I don't know
That is
what will.
so
I'm like,
important.
throw it.
That is so important.
I'm like, throw anything at me, I will come up with an idea. I'm always open to learning. I wouldn't say it's a change, it's always been there. I'm always open to learning, I'm always open to understanding people. Empathy is something that is a change in me. I wasn't empathetic before, I was stupid as fuck. But but I grew up, I started understanding that it's not just what I think, it's not just what I feel, it's not just my opinions, it's not just my perspective. I'm not the supreme leader, right? I need to understand people. I need to give them the space to talk about what they're feeling. I need to address that and I need to understand where they're coming from if I ever want to build any sort of relationship with anybody in general. I'm very I think the one thing also that changed in me is speaking up when required. So I do speak up. Earlier I would just be like, huh, it's okay, chhod do, chhod do, chhod do. But now I don't do that. I do speak up where I don't let people take me for a ride. If it messed up with me, I will let you know it messed up with me. But I'll still be polite while I'm saying that because I still will somehow try to understand where you're coming from. So major changes in life, major changes in me as a person for sure. I mean, I grew up plenty. So yeah,
I
that's
mean,
about it.
the where you thought that this is something that won't, you know, do something for you, and I think, yeah, we question that always. Would it do something for us? And right now, making you say those many things where I'm just smiling it out, because it's incredible talking about the changes that we face and that we have in ourselves. I have been trying to do that myself, and when I talk to when I talk to my therapist, and she tells me that I am seeing changes in you, I'm like, okay, if you are, okay. And every time I ask this question to someone, I try to look into myself as well. This is, I think, the 28th or 29th or 30th, 31st, 32nd episode, I don't know, but I mean, every time I see a different person, because I get to learn from people I call up on my episode, and I have learned a lot from you today, because there are some I think I have learned this in the last 1 year, and I'm very happy that at the end of the year we are talking about changes and learnings and everything. But yeah, you know, I've learned this myself, that there are a lot of perspectives that I have to look for. It's not just mine that is there, as you said. It's not me alone. It's there are a lot of people, and having this perspective where I could see your perspective and what you think about even the same things that we think about, but in a whole different way. Same understanding, same feeling, same learning, same maturity. Somewhere I'll say in some topics that we have touched, but you had a whole different perspective about something, and I got to see that, learn that. So I'm really happy that I had this chance to talk to you and, understand how you grew, understand your journey, talk about certain things that I never thought I would be talking to Khadija. But I'm very happy. I'm very, very, you know, I'm very, very blessed to be able to talk to you right today. I feel blessed. So thank you so much for doing this episode, Khadija. And seriously, hats off and all the best. And seriously, keep doing what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to more such interactions with you. So thank you so much for this episode.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, it was really fun because, at the end of the day, like you said, we were, I would say, acquaintances back in school. Right now, it's more like, I'm talking to a friend, just chilling with a friend, talking to, So thank you for having me. That it was fun to, talk about things that I didn't like. I think a lot of people would end up asked me. And because I was never asked, maybe I would have never really had that chance to really see what I think, right? Because you think something, and then when you actually think it out loud, you're like, okay, so this is how I think. And I think, yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun. A lot.
I hope this episode helped you understand about how everything in life can have so many different perspectives. But hey, if it didn't, no worries. Thank you so much for listening till the end. Do comment down below on how you feel about this episode, and if there is anything else that I can improve upon. And also like and subscribe to my channel. It will really help me grow. And if you want to follow me and the guest in various social media platforms, the links are on the description below. Thank you so much again. Remember, listen, understand, and rethink.